When a breakup happens, we usually expect emotional responses, whether they come in the form of sadness or anger or even maybe begging for a second chance. But there's one reaction that can unsettle the person who initiated the breakup, and that is silence. It's not just that the person who was dumped is quiet, it's that this silence can trigger a range of emotions in the person who ended things, making them question themselves, question their decision, and maybe even question their own emotional state. You hear me talk about it a lot. First, silence can be seen as a form of withdrawal, which is counterintuitive to relationships when you think about it. People who are used to communication who are used to shared emotional experiences may feel a sense of loss when these channels are abruptly shut down. A study by Sprecher and colleagues in 2008 in personal relationships suggests that people are often uncomfortable with silence after a breakup because it creates an emotional void. Instead of closure or an opportunity for them to feel justified in their decision, the silence leaves them in a state of uncertainty. Now, let's talk about why this silence can be so unsettling. When someone breaks up with you, there's this expectation that they'll either feel a sense of guilt or a sense of relief, or even maybe have a lingering attachment. But silence from the person that they've just let go of flips the script. If you're not reaching out, if you're not begging for reconciliation, it leaves the dumper wondering, what happened? Are they okay? Did I really mean that little to them that they would just walk away and not communicate with me anymore? Psychologically, this feeds into what's called the paradox of silence. Research in psychology has pointed out that silence can have an inverse emotional effect. What was intended to be a clean break for the dumper often turns into self-doubt or concern about the emotional state of the person who's been left behind. According to a study by Joanne and colleagues in 2011 in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships, silence can prompt the dumper to reevaluate the breakup decision, even if they thought the relationship meant more to the other person than it did to them. Moreover, silence can provoke anxiety. And for many people, uncertainty breeds anxiety. If the person who initiated the breakup has doubts in the first place, hearing nothing from you could force them to confront their own unresolved feelings or fear that the breakup wasn't as clear-cut as they thought it was going to be. It's also worth noting that when you stop engaging, you may unintentionally deprive the dumper of the emotional feedback that they were expecting. That feedback loop, whether it's anger or sadness or even relief, gets cut off, leaving them to sit with their own feelings without understanding what your feelings are. But here's the deeper layer. Silence can also imply strength, self-sufficiency, which can be incredibly attractive and incredibly intimidating. When you don't reach out, you're showing that you don't need their validation to move on in life. This can be especially rattling for someone who may have assumed that they would still have some control over your emotions, or for someone who doesn't want to feel the weight of being the sole decision maker in your relationship's demise. It shows them that you actually can detach, that your happiness doesn't actually depend on them, and that can mess with their own perception of their power in this situation. And so, at the end of the day, silence isn't just an absence of communication. It becomes a statement in itself. It challenges the dumper to confront their feelings, to reflect on their actions, and to question whether they truly made the right call. The absence of your emotional reaction is often more intense than any words you could ever say. Remember, the higher you climb, the better the view. Let me encourage you to climb higher because you deserve to be happy.